Alright, so this video is on linear equations as your book describes them. So it may be a little confusing because you've never heard that word before. It comes from this page 122 and the preceding section. But they're basically a good way to look at it, or page 118. They're problems with only one letter in them. So let me explain that. So first off, linear equations are problems with only one letter. So if you have a problem like this, 2x minus x plus 4 plus 5x equals 3, then that is a linear equation. They have one letter. They don't use more than one letter. Although that one letter can appear multiple times, they don't use more than one letter, and they always have an equal sign. You can't solve it unless we have an equal sign. So these are part of a solve step. The simplify step can be done to anything. Say we have a problem like this, 2t minus t plus 2x minus x equals 3. We can't solve this one. We have two variables. If we could simplify it, we could get t plus x equals 3. But that doesn't tell us what t or x is. They could be anything for that matter. So we don't know, and that's why we can only solve linear for now. All right, so remember, linear, one variable that can appear multiple times and an equal sign. That's how you know that you can follow these steps. Again, I'll repeat that. Linear has one variable that can repeat multiple times and an equal sign. Then you follow the steps up there, the simplify, add, subtract, multiply, divide. By doing those things, we can solve for our intended variable. And what it means to solve for a variable is to find the number that it stands in for. Because all variables do are stand in for a number we don't know. They're a number that makes the equation true that we don't know. And the way we do that is by reversing the process used to create the equation. And I have another video on that. But this video, we just discuss these steps in the book. So let's go over the steps and talk about each one now that we have down what a linear equation is. So the first step is to simplify. First, we take everything that we can break down without moving anything across the equal sign. First, we do all that. When we do that, that means we're trying to look to get rid of parentheses, exponents, fractions, or combining like terms. One way to do that is by distributing. Say we had a problem like this. All right. So say we had a problem like this, and we need to solve for x. The first step would be to simplify because we see the parenthesis. We need to get rid of that. So we're going to get rid of the parenthesis here. So this would be, or sorry, not parenthesis. The exponent comes first. So the exponents are first. So this will be here. So we're going to take this and make this 9 plus 4x on the inside. We're going to multiply that by 2. So we're going to get 18 plus 8x, and we can solve it from there. But that's what's contained in the simplify step. The simplify step basically is to make it look like this down here, this 18 plus 8x. That's the point of a simplify step. Sometimes, though, we can't use it first. It has to be used second or third or fourth. These steps will be used in order, but we can repeat the steps as many times as necessary. And I'll show that with this problem. So first we say simplify. At this point, there's nothing we can simplify. Because of this negative 5 out there and this 3 over here, we can't get into the parentheses yet to remove the fraction, which is one of the things we can simplify. There's no like terms to combine, so we can't do that. There is nothing that we can do. So the best thing to do is then move to the next step. Add or subtract. Okay, I can do that. I can add a 5. Those cancel. We're left with 3 negative 6x plus 4 over 2 plus 3. Now the 5 is gone. Okay, now we have another thing. This 3 is still preventing us to get into the parentheses. We could choose to distribute like that, but that's the long way around. Another thing we can do is we can say, well, that's multiplied by 3, right? So I'm going to take and divide by 3. In so doing, cancel those out. Whatever you do to one side, do to the other side. So now we've done this. We did step 2. Now we're on step 3. Because we couldn't do anything else, so we're going to go to step 3. Now we're going to say negative 6x plus 4 over 2 plus 3. Now we say, okay, now that we've gone to step 3, we're going to go back to step 1. Step 1 says simplify. Parentheses, exponents, fractions, combine like terms. I don't see any of that we can do because we have this 3. So first we have to minus 3. Because that's the step 2, right? We then go to step 2, add or subtract. All right, this says negative 6x plus 4 over 2 equals 5. All right, now we're going to say, okay, now what can we do? Multiply and divide, not really, but we can simplify because we have a fraction on one side. We want to get rid of it. So we're going to use a multiplication and division to remove it, but it's technically a simplify step. Those cancel out. Multiply both sides by 2. Now we can say, okay, we did a simplify step. Now we need an add and subtract step, right? So we're going to minus 4. All right. So now we're at step 3, multiply or divide. Divide by negative 6. X equals a 1. So this problem follows these steps very well. Now some problems will not follow these steps well. Then you just have to use your best judgment and say, what's the best step to use here? But if you go through the steps and say, this step, can I do this right now? No. Can I do this right now? No. Can I do this right now? No. Okay, well then that's where you're stuck. But if you can do a step, like you always go 1, 2, 3. Do it in that order. And if you can do a step, do it, then start over the process. 1, 2, 3. Do a step, do it. If you follow through that process, it'll help you in solving. I'm going to do one more to show you how that works. Again, you can pause or stop this video wherever you need to get the best help out of it. I make these videos so that they can do that with them. Because I want you guys, these videos are for you. So, all right. So we're going to do this now. Let's pick another problem from the book. I'm going to take that head on. So I try to get rid of all my stuff here. There's a lot. All right. We're going to do a smaller one, but we're going to do a problem from the book. Let's say we're going to do problem. Let's do problem. I like problem 4. It follows some of the same logic. It's 6 over 7t equals negative 24. Now, in this one, we can go through the steps and say simplify. Well, we've got a fraction, right? We don't like fractions. But not only that, we've got an improper fraction because the t is not on top, right? So we need to multiply these two together, which gives us 6t. If you remember correctly from our fractions, we multiply straight across. So 6t over 7 equals negative 24. Now next step, add or subtract. I don't see anything that we can add or subtract that would help us. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, well now I'm going to multiply or divide. I can do that. Those cross out. 6t equals negative 24. Now, we have another thing that we need to do. We need to take this 6t. So now we're going to go back through the steps since we did multiply, divide. Okay, simplify. Nothing I can do there. Add or subtract. Nothing I can do that'll help me. Oh, whoops, I forgot to divide by 7 there. All right. So now I say, well, that didn't help. That didn't help. What can I do? Well, we add and subtract doesn't help. Multiply, divide. That helps. We divide both sides by 6. So we get t on one side, right? Because that we know is t there. Say just t. Now we're going to have this weird like fraction inception over here. We're going to have 24 over 7 over 6. Now what do we do when that happens? And so if you will remember, anything over 1 is itself, right? And what are our rules for dividing fractions? We reciprocate and multiply. So we take this guy, flip him upside down, and multiply. What does that give us? I'll give you a minute to do the math. Alright, so your math should have come out as negative 24 over 42. That is not the final answer. The final answer will be reduced from that. If you need help on that, I can make another video on that. Just email me. You have to reduce that fraction. But that is the process. So then we take our multiply divide process again. These are your tools that you have to solve linear equations. So let's do a review. A linear equation is what? It is an equation with one variable that can repeat, but only one variable. So only one letter. They won't reuse letters, or they won't use different letters. They'll use one letter through the whole problem. They will also have an equals sign. If you see those two things, you have a linear equation, and you can use these steps to solve it. I hope this video helps in helping you, some of you understand where your math is coming from, and that might help out. So there you go.